Welcome to another episode of the brand called You, a video and podcast show that brings you leadership lessons, knowledge, experience, and wisdom from hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. Today, I'm delighted and privileged to welcome not just a very, very dear friend and a fellow YPO member, but an incredibly successful technology entrepreneur, Anees Ahmed. Anees, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Ashutosh. My pleasure to be on the show.
Thank you. Anees is the president and founder of Mistral Pvt. Limited. He's a golfer. He enjoys sailing. He does windsurfing and he plays poker. And as I just mentioned, he's a fellow IPO member from Bangalore, India. So Anees, tell me, what would you say are three key milestones in your life or your career?
Okay, Ashutosh. I think when you see all these things, difficult to pinpoint three. But when I think back, I think there are a few that really were a turning point. One when I was about 18, I became a national champion in rifle shooting.
Oh, wow.
So that actually gave me an entry to join an engineering college. It gave me an engineering seat because being a national champion in the sports quota, I could get a seat in engineering.
Right.
So that really helped. I think that was one turning point that, my career moved to the engineering side, or I could get an education in engineering.
Okay.
And then there are always some good and some bad. So I think there was one bad experience. I had a previous entrepreneurial venture about 23 years ago where the other partners cheated us a lot, So that we had to get out of that, and that gave birth to this company, Mistral. So I think something bad made something good happen. So definitely that was also a turning point in my life and in my career. And of course, I think my two girls. So it makes you change your perspective in life, the way you look at things. So when I had my two girls, so I think they have made a big change in my life too.
Oh, wonderful.
So these three, I would say, are my top three.
And what wonderful milestones. Fantastic. So Anees, now let's talk about Mistral.
Yeah.
Tell me about this venture and what you do there.
Okay. First and foremost, Mistral is a tech company. Okay. In India, we have this perspective that everything is an IT company.
I did that mistake as well till you corrected me.
Yes. No, because we are not an IT company at all. We are completely a technology company.
Okay.
Just to give you a little background, we started with about 16 people. Mm-hmm. This is what you call a typical garage startup. We were like about 5 lakh rupees of investment between 3 friends. Mm-hmm. And that's all the money that we had between 3 of us that we could invest. And in those days, we worked with a few defense lab and some US customers, and we grew from there. Mm-hmm. Today, we have about 400 R&D engineers. And we do some of the most complex designs, and we do electronic design. That means we do hardware and software and a little of mechanical and product design. So we are like nothing to do with IT.
Okay. You must be using IT.
We use technology. So we use computers, of course, but IT is like the infrastructure that every company uses for us.
I agree. So, you said that you started with 500,000 rupees. And today you are 1.7 billion.
Yes.
Tell me, what were some of your challenges as you built this business?
Good. Great question, Ashutosh. If you look at it, like I said, we were like a very, very small startup. Mm-hmm. And like I said, we had 500,000 rupees. Out of the 500,000 rupees, 300,000 rupees we had to give as a security deposit for a place we took to the landlord, because that was our little office that we started. So we basically had 200,000 rupees to run the business. So we barely had any money. So we had to generate business for month 1 to survive. We were not like a funded company or anything. So month 1, we had to generate revenue to survive. And in those days, we couldn't even afford to buy our own proper computers. So what we would do is we'd go to the local market, we would buy motherboards, hard disk, monitors, and we would assemble a few computers every month, because for the 16 people that we had in the team, we did not have 16 computers. People would share computers, and then every month we would go and assemble 2-3 of those computers. And then I think it took us about 4 or 5 months, and then everybody had 1 computer each to work. Amazing. And then one other thing is we learned from our past companies' mistakes. We said what bad they did, what wrong they did, how they treated their people and their employees. We learned from that. And one thing we was very critical was I realized the team was key. So we always treated our employees like family. Mm-hmm. We gave away about 30% of our company share to the team members. Okay. This may be one of the largest ESOPs in the country. I don't know of any other any other company in India that has given away like 30% of its stock to its employees. And all of this was given at par value.
Wow.
That means this is not even at some, discounted value or at par value. And with this, we gain loyalty. And today I have people with me who have been with me for 25 years, 23 in this company and a couple of years before in my earlier company also who are with me. So this, I think, was a big learning. And so team was key, and how we treated our people and key people, and we, made them part of the family. One of the other things I learned early was customer focus. We never let down any customer. We have even taken orders and executed them at a loss because somebody had made a commitment that, yes, we will deliver this. Because I know a lot of companies walk away from deals and saying that, this is going to make loss. I want to cut my losses. I'll walk away. Right. We never walked away from a single order due to any problems. Many times we made mistakes. Employee may have given overcommitted, but we technically never failed. And even if there was a commercial issue, we delivered. So the brand Mistral stood strong for one, technical capability, and then for commitment. And we had, even though we were a small company, we had a very professional approach. And we acted like a really, professional company in all our dealings. So that, I think, really helped build our brand too.
So, you built a very, very strong technology company.
Yes.
Now, technology, as per my limited understanding, has a short lifespan,
yes,
because of the continuous changes that keep happening.
Yes.
So what does it take to stay on top of technology in a technology company?
I think very well put, Ashutosh, there, because, and especially in our area, in our domain of technology that we work, which is a lot with silicon and computers and all that, our technology changes every few months.
Correct.
So one thing is we work with some of the top silicon companies in the world, be it Qualcomm, NXP, Analog Devices, Texas Instruments, or Cypress, all of these. So we are always abreast with the latest technology. Since we work with the silicon companies, we are aware of what silicon is coming 1 year, 2 years down the lines. So we are working with them at early stage, even before the silicon is released. So that is one aspect. So we are aware of what silicon is coming and what technology, what capability is coming, what we can do with it. Then we work with product companies where this silicon is being used in some of the latest generation products. So we are already doing designs. It could be wearables, it could be gadgets, it could be defense electronics and all that. So we are always aware of what is the latest the customer is asking, because we are doing the designs for them. Since we are doing the designs, we are always abreast of the latest technology, the latest communication thing, the latest USB ports, or latest graphics, the latest processors, the latest silicon, the latest AI chips. So we are working with all of them. So we are learning as we go.
And when you started, you went into defense and security.
Yes.
What took you into these two sectors, which may be large, but must be very, very difficult to get into?
Yes. So what happened here, I think this is a very interesting thing. I started my career selling computers. I used to work for this company called Protect Computers. PCL doesn't exist today. In those days, there were only a few big companies, and there were like hundreds of small companies. So my customer that I was allocated were defense labs. So I would sell them these computers, and I would realize that when you're selling them a computer, there would be 50 or 60 companies vying for the deal of that computer. So I realized computer just didn't make it. So what I was trying to see was, what were these guys using the computer for? Somebody was using it for data acquisition. Somebody was using it for some control system. Somebody was adding something and using this computer to do something. So what they were doing, I tried to understand. I would read up a lot of stuff on technology, and I would try and bring those pieces along with my computer so I could sell my computer to them. Otherwise, I was competing with 50. The moment I added something to that computer, I became one or two of those companies that could supply that. So I understood defense requirements and what they were doing. And that slowly led me to get into this defense business, because it was not about the computer anymore. It was what they were doing. It was simulation or controls or some data acquisition or some flight avionics and controls. So, that's how I got it.
It's quite amazing. I mean, because you started to create a value add in a generic computer, which everyone was selling.
Yes, it was more about the value add. It was not my computer cell anymore. It was that solution cell along with the computer.
Amazing. And you discovered it 25 years ago. That is quite incredible. So Anees, you just said that you are doing cutting edge technology, including wearables and other devices.
Yes.
How much of this is your original innovation and how much of it would be as an OEM?
See, a lot of the engineering is all our innovation. Many of our ideas have come from our US customers or global customers. They come out with a concept. We made that concept a reality by actually converting their idea into a product. So we would make this product, a complete idea they would have, and we would make it into an actual prototype and then make a product that they could take to production. But in defense, what is happening is our customers have been working with us for the last 20 odd years. We have seen what they've done in the past. So many times we go back to them and say, you know what, we have done this. We can now do this for you in a better way, in a smaller way, or it'll function, give you much better features or productivity or whatever. So there we go and innovate and go back to them and say, we can do this for you. So that's a learning from the past that we apply. And so there it is a lot of joint IP we will have.
Okay. So you must be filing a lot of patents.
One of the things I've realized is in our kind of work in defense, patents really don't work because you're giving away your idea. Because in defense, everybody is building their own unique products. They're not really going out and selling a product. So if I put it out there, somebody will see and learn from it and go and build their own product because I will not even know that they would have used it. If I have a patent and if I cannot track it and protect it, it becomes a little difficult. Maybe more in the consumer space and commercial space it applies. But since a lot of our work also goes into the defense, we are not really filing much of the patents there.
Very interesting. So when I was reading about you, you had decided that you're going to merge with an organization called Access Games.
Yes.
And then the deal did not go through. My question to you is that why did you want to do this and what were your learnings?
Great. Every experience, good or bad, is always something that you learn from it. Okay. This has been really like a bad experience for us. We learned. So we trusted this company. When I had private equity investors and their fund life was over and they wanted to exit. So at that point in time, about 3 years ago, I started looking for an alternative buyer who would be interested in my company. And we were a very profitable company, very cutting edge in the technology. So a lot of people were interested. So I trusted this company because I knew the person there, and we decided, okay, you know what, we will do a deal with them. But they've been unable to pay us in the last 3 years. They kept lying to us, kept delaying. They kept making hundreds of promises. We had more than 100 meetings. I have more than like a couple of 100 emails that I've sent them saying that, guys, this is, past the time. You're supposed to pay us. You're supposed to pay us. They paid us for one phase, and they did not have the money to pay us for the balance phase. They were a public company, their stock tanked. Now, suddenly when the stock value has gone down, they were not able to give us the stock because they had to give us more stock in case they had to meet the value that they had agreed. Right. So they kept buying time. And after 2 years, after we were chasing up, they go and file arbitration petition saying that we have delayed the whole process.
I see.
Actually, we are the person who have to receive the money, and they go and telling us that we are delaying the whole process. Okay. But one of the things that we learned, to have everything clearly in writing, and keep the deal structure simple, because these people complicated the deal structure for their convenience, and we supported them, and that complicated matters. So one thing I've said is, somebody does a deal, keep it very simple, leave no gray areas for interpretation. And the legal system in India is really bad. It just drags. It can go to arbitration, then it can go to high court, and then it can go to Supreme Court. It can take you anything from 5 years to 15 years. You never know. Yeah. So I think having things clear, keeping the deal structure very simple is something that I have learned at least, and I would advise anybody doing it, keep your deal structures very simple. So right now I'm still hoping the arbitrators will see the facts of the matter and rule favorably. So I'm right now in arbitration, so that's going on. So while we continue to run, it sucks up a lot of your time, and you're not able to do your, handle your customers and your main company affairs, and you're, spending all your time in legal paperwork.
And that can be very painful.
Yeah. Painful.
So moving on, Anees, you have led a company for a long time, built into a very large company. You've dealt with people, leaders all over the world. What, according to you, are some of the key qualities a CEO should have?
Okay. A CEO or a leader, I think I would say some of the things that I would look at, I always like to see the big picture. Some people have this habit of going into so much of details, they lose a higher, overview. I see sometimes people put up a report and, they do so deep dive analysis and they don't have a one-page summary of it. If you just ask them a simple question, or they'll have to, sit and analyze. I said, have your data, but always have a big picture, overview of it. And, at leadership level, balancing team dynamics. Everybody is different. People have to learn how to handle these people. The business leader always has to be business oriented. You take business decisions and not emotional decisions. You need to learn how to harness the good of everyone. Everybody has some good qualities, bad qualities. Right. Learn how to harness the good and not harp on the bad of people. So for me, I think positive energy is very important in a leader. I've never seen any leader with negative energy surviving or succeeding. Correct. So always having positive energy is very important.
Interesting. And what would you say is your leadership style?
Okay. I have a more easygoing leadership skill, I would say. I don't like to micromanage. I give a lot of independence to my team. Mm-hmm. I don't stress on the small stuff. I always say, don't stress on the fluff. Mm-hmm. I try to focus. I tell my team, focus on the top 3 issues. The 10 issues, identify which are the top 1, 2, 3 and fix them. If you fix them, 80-90% of your problem is solved. Basic business skills. I believe very strongly in building a personal and a strong network, business and personal network. For me, in this EO and YPO, have really helped. I have built relationships and friendships with my customers, which have gone, beyond business relationship. Today, when I travel, I go and stay or meet up with friends who are actually my old customers or some business colleagues. I've always believed in building relationships and retaining relationships. And I always understand that everyone is different. It's all about how I leverage or how you leverage their strengths. I don't like dealing with hypothetical issues. People have saying, oh, if this happens, what about that? I said, when that happens, we will look at it. Look at problems that exist today, handle that problem. Let's get into hypothetical situation. Oh, this may happen. Lockdown may happen. I said, if it happens, we will address it. It affects everybody. But let us address issues that exist for today.
Very well said. And you hire so many people, and you said you already kept some people have stayed with you for 25 years.
Yes.
What do you look for when you hire someone?
Okay. One, what I look for is a good positive attitude. The person should be self-motivated, not that somebody keeps telling him what to do. The person should take the initiative. You should have that energy. You see energy in people, this good energy. The people are team players and they want to go and get things done. They don't want to come in with problems. I don't like people coming to me with problems. I like people who have gone, there's a problem, they've addressed it, solved it, and come and tell me that, yeah, this problem was there, I've taken care of it. One thing I've observed is somebody good in sports. I've always wanted to take these kind of people because I've observed these guys are good team players. They're self-motivated and they get things done. He may not be the most qualified person, but with the sports background, I've always found they are people who deliver. They are team players.
Okay. One more question before I move to some questions for you personally. You said you have 2 daughters. They must be Gen Zs or millennials. This is the age of the millennials and the Gen Zs. They're the people who are going to inherit the earth from people like you and me, even though you're much younger than me. What is your view on how the millennials and the Gen Zs are going to handle the technology business?
Yes, I'm so happy you brought this up. You know what? Because there's a lot of new technology coming, AI, you talk about machine learning. We have to adapt. There's new technology that is used, like for example, some of the most advanced technology is your cell phone, which is available to you for 50,000 rupees or, is $500-700. Now, those technologies can be applied in other industries. What goes into that can go into industrial, defense, enterprise, all these kind of things, the way, user interfaces are there. Mm-hmm. One thing I've been telling my legacy customers, defense, when a project goes on for 15, 20 years, I tell these people, when you have an idea or a concept, let that concept design come from somebody who's 25, 28, 30 years old. Mm-hmm. Let the older people be there. But the concept of how that product should look, how the product should feel, how should somebody use that product, how easy it is to use that product, should come from somebody who's like 25, 28 years old. Let them do the design. The engineering implementation can be done by anybody. The management decision can be taken by anybody. But that conceptual design should come from a younger mind. I keep telling people, product should be very easy to use. Engineers design products where only an engineer can use it.
Correct.
But what they never realize is a product is used by the layman. Like I'll give an example. In my own company, I tell people when they come and say, oh, you know what, we've done this really complex design. I tell them, go show it to the security guy who's sitting in the front. Let him see it. Let him come and show it to me. If that guy can understand the product and show it to me, I understand how easy and how good it is to use.
Correct.
So adopting these new ideas, new technologies, which come from the younger generation is very, very, very critical in legacy systems. Otherwise, you have this huge product with a big manual that you have to read this manual to use the product. Today, you give your cell phone to a 5 or 7-year-old. That 5 or 7-year-old will run through that cell phone menus and features easily.
Correct.
That shows you how products have to change over time, and everybody has to adapt to that.
Very well said. So, Anees, I'm now going to move to the last segment of the conversation,
Yes.
which are some questions for you personally.
Sure. Great.
My first question is that for someone who's built such an amazing business, what are some of the core values you believe in?
For me, I think it is integrity, commitment to a word given. I've always put others before myself, and building long-lasting friendships.
Okay, that's amazing. And a follow-up question to that is that for someone who was a national champion in drive for shooting, someone who went to the engineering college, built an amazing business, from where you stand today, what does success mean to Anees?
So, okay, success is, I think, you build a lasting organization. You've given opportunity to a lot of people to build a better life for themselves. You've built leaders along with you, so you've built a team. You've given them an opportunity to become leaders. And of course, when you succeed, you get some basic personal comforts for self and for family. There's no doubt about it, which is great.
Okay. And the next question is that who or what inspires you?
It's not, I would not say just one person, I'm saying a lot of people. You learn little things from everyone around. It's how you assimilate that information and adapt what is good for you.
Okay. I have time for 2 more questions.
Yeah.
The next question is on failure. I have, in fact, a new book on failure releasing today. And I've often said that people in India or South Asia or maybe Asia don't teach children it's okay to fail.
Yes.
You're always told come first, go to the head of the line, etc., etc., and that manifests itself in our behavior patterns.
Yes.
Yet we fail. So my question to you is, Anees, what have been some of your learnings from some of your mistakes?
See, I have a very simple belief system that learning never ends till you die. I'm a strong believer that you never stop learning. You keep learning. You make a mistake, you learn from it. You never make that mistake or you never repeat that mistake. I always tell people, make small mistakes, learn from them, never make big mistakes. Nothing goes to waste. And there's one thing, like if I regret in life, I don't regret anything normally, nothing. But one thing I regret is some places I should have been more pushy enough to do certain things that I wanted to do for myself. I'll give you a good example. Almost 8-10 years ago, I wanted to do Bitcoin because some friends pushed me for it who are early promoters and evangelists of this Bitcoins from YPO, for example. And they were telling me, Anees, just buy these. I said, yes, I'll do it. I wanted to buy Bitcoins of about 25 lakh rupees, which was, I think, about in those days, maybe some $40,000-$50,000. I could not do it from India. There were a lot of restrictions and, I could not do this transfer of money to buy it. And maybe if I tried hard enough, I could have done, I let it go. Again, I met these same people. And they said, Anees, have you done it? I said, no, let me try again. Another time, Bitcoin had gained some traction, had gone to like $100 or something. And then US banks were putting some restrictions on how much you could buy per day. And again, I tried it and I said, for a couple of days, and I said, what, leave it. And I just feel I wanted to do it. I should have pursued it and done it. If I'd done it, it would have been like $2 billion of Bitcoins that I've been sitting on today. And I feel, shit, I missed that bus. So if there was something that I wanted to do, I had decided to do, I should have pushed it and made it happen.
Amazing.
And this was a personal learning.
Amazing. And my last question to you now, and this is for the thousands of people who will watch our conversation and listen to all your words of wisdom. What would your advice be to a young entrepreneur who's starting off on her or his journey in this world now?
Yes. I think you have to be self-motivated. Don't expect things on platter. And people always talk of luck. I always tell people, the harder and smarter you work, the luckier you get.
Correct.
So, so it's all about hard and smart work. And, in the initial years, you have to really slog it out. You'll fail. It's okay. Don't get disheartened. Just go ahead and do it and build relationships. Ultimately, business is done based on relationships and the networks that you build. If you don't have a good relationships and network, it's not easy to build. So I think the relationships and network is very key to succeed in life.
Wonderful. Anees, thank you so much. It
Thank you,
has been such a pleasure speaking to you. I mean, there are new things I've learned about you. For example, I've known you for so many years. I didn't know you were a national champion. And, thank you for such an amazing journey that you have shared with us. I wish you lots and lots of success.
Thank you. Thank you, Ashutosh. Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to the Brand Called You videocast and podcast, a platform that brings you knowledge, experience, and wisdom of hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. Do visit our website www.tbcy.in to watch and listen to the stories of many more individuals. You can also follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search for the Brand Called You.